I want to thank today's sponsors, Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings. They got great merch, seasonings, condiments, everything. Check them out. GrillYourAssOff.com/mychowline. I want to thank ArmedForces.press. Check them out. Great news source about what's going on in the military here in the States and abroad. Also, I want to thank Lasered Gifts for You for awesome logo done on my ammo cans here and on the hat. Get these hats done. Thanks so much, Don. Appreciate it so much. So check them all out. GrillYourAssOff.com/mychowline, ArmedForces.press, and Lasered Gifts for You on Facebook. We're going to get into a breakfast item, but it's a one-pot meal almost. And I will tell you what, this is a very heavy ingredients, like a lot of different pieces. It can get expensive, but it is super good, super filling, heavy on protein, super good for you. And you can see I got a bunch of eggs right here. Tell me you got money without telling me you got money, am I right? These eggs are at least 200% more than what they normally cost. I mean, this box of 60 used to cost us, what, $7? It's now $27 for 60 count of eggs. It is insane. So this is quickly becoming a very expensive dish, but you know what? It's great for a camp out, or it's great to cook for a family. You don't have to do this. I'm going to do it in my Dutch oven, but you don't have to do it in the Dutch oven. You can do it in an oven at home. It works really good. You can put it in a smoker in a big cast iron skillet. But yeah, this is going to be fun. So check it out. I'm going to go through the ingredients here and show you what we got. First, starting off with, show our seasonings we're going to use. We're going to be using Infidel pork rub and Platoon Sergeant salt, pepper, garlic from Grill Your Ass Off. Really good. We've also got Kerrygold butter. We've got these hash browns that you can buy in the store. Jalapenos diced up. We got thick cut bacon diced up. We got a pound of ham. This is probably right about a pound. We've got 4 bell peppers here. We got orange, yellow, red, and green. We've got eggs, heavy whipping cream. We've got onions. We've got cheddar cheese, extra sharp and sharp cheddar and extra sharp cheddar mixed together. I prefer to shred it myself instead of getting the stuff pre-shredded, because it has that like flour or cornstarch or something on the each piece of the cheese. So we're going to be using that. We're going to be using our Dutch oven, and we're going to cook it up. We're first going to cook up and brown up all the meat, and then we'll get to it. All right, we want to put a little oil in here. We got the cast iron Dutch oven heated up. We're going to start browning off our meat. I've went ahead and put some Infidel pork rub on the ham and the bacon. We're going to start off with this Jimmy Dean sausage sage. We're going to brown this up. Alright, well, this is pretty much browned off. You could go a little further and get it crispier if you wanted to, but we're gonna stop here, pull this out, and start cooking the bacon, and then we'll do the ham, and then we'll saute the vegetables for a little bit, then pull those out, and then we'll get ready to cook this up. Now, I'm using my gas grill to do this, that way it's tabletop height. But if you are camping, you could use the fire or charcoal, a pile of charcoal underneath this. You want to leave a little bit of air for the heat so it doesn't suffocate the charcoal. But for browning off, you want to just get the bottom hot. Or you can use a flame, whatever. But as we get to cooking, we'll get into, when we get down to cooking the casserole itself, we'll be more precise with the temperature we're putting on the bottom of it. But right now, we're just browning the meat. So all we need to do is just get that bottom hot. We're getting some good fond on the bottom. Ooh, that's good. Good. The fond on the bottom is all the stuff that sticks to the bottom, the little fat, proteins that stick to the bottom of the pot. Those will be good when we go to saute our vegetables up a little bit. We're only doing them for a little bit. It should take all that up. It'll deglaze it. And get these nice and crispy. All right. Got that cooked up enough. We're gonna pull it and do the ham. Here goes our ham with the infidel. This ham's already cooked. All we're trying to do is just get it sauteed a little bit. All right, so we're gonna pull this ham. Like I said, it was already cooked already, so all we're doing was just kind of heating it up and searing the edges a little bit and let those seasonings melt and help it. Since it's also juicy, it helped deglaze the bottom of the pot a little bit. Now we're going to put our vegetables in. So we got our jalapenos, bell peppers, and our onions. Just 3 small onions, 2 jalapenos. We're not trying to cook these all the way through. We're just trying to get a little color on them. Let it deglaze the pan a little bit. Let it get some of that fond off the bottom. Because we want the texture of the crunch of the vegetables. That's going to be important. You want that crunch in there. You don't want them too soggy and soft. But you want them to cook a little bit. Maybe a little char on them. Looking good. That's about the way we want it. We're not trying to cook them all the way down. We're just trying to saute them just a little bit, get a little bit of softness. All right, we have 18 eggs in here. We're going to add some salt, pepper, garlic. We're going to add some heavy whipping cream, and we're going to whisk this up. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our shredded hash browns. I've got my charcoal going, so that's why it's a little smoky over here. And we're going to take and we're going to add the hash browns in. We're going to mix these up. Get that butter mixed around in there real good. I might actually add more butter because that might not have been enough. I'm going to take half of this bag because we're making a crust on the bottom. We want it enough so that way everybody gets some. Want it fairly thick, but not too thick. All right, that's good. Smells good. Take a little platoon sergeant. Some kids having fun. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push this down into the edges. We'll let that cook and start browning up. All right, so been sauteing. You can see on the edges right around here, some of these are starting to crisp up a little bit. We're gonna let that go a little bit longer till we get a little more crisp, and then we'll start adding our stuff to it. All right, so now we're going to add our ingredients. I've mixed all the meats and the veggies together, and we're going to layer those on. Put a little bit of layer in there. Now we're going to take some of the eggs that we've mixed up. Take a little bit of the cheese, or a lot of the cheese, however much you want to put in there. We're going to finish adding the meat and veggies. Rest of the eggs. All right, I whipped up a few more eggs, so we got a total of 26 eggs. So we're going to come back and check on that. We'll rotate the lid and the bottom around so that we don't get any hot spots and burn spots. We're going to try to keep it evenly heated all the way around till the eggs are done, because basically everything is cooked now. We're just trying to get those eggs to cook and solidify in the middle. And that's it. And we'll, right before the end, once we know the eggs are done, we'll put a layer of cheese on top, and then we will let that melt and maybe brown a little bit, and then we'll pull it off. All right, we got our charcoal on top, we got our lid on. I've rotated it a couple times, so we're gonna let this finish out cooking. So here we are. We've been cooking for about 30 minutes now. But you'll notice top is starting to solidify a little bit, but it's still got some jiggle. The edges are cooked pretty good, but the center is still a little loose. So I know that the eggs in the middle have not cooked all the way. So we're gonna keep cooking this thing. I've added some more coals to it. We're gonna keep this thing cooking. I've added more to the top, not more to the bottom, because we need all that heat from the top. The bottom's still hot. All right, I believe we are good to go. So I'm gonna add some cheese to it, put it on there and let it melt down, and then we'll serve this up. Hey Brent, thanks for joining. I wanted to talk to you because there's this issue that just popped up. I just heard about it. Yesterday I saw a YouTube video by Angry Cops. He's a a comedian. He is actually a reserve drill sergeant, and he's also a police officer up in Buffalo, New York. And he does a lot of stuff with veterans and stuff. But he's got a YouTube channel. It's pretty big, and he does satire and stuff like that. But he gets angry a lot of times at issues and stuff with military, and he starts pointing out when he finds out stuff. He does a little research, and he makes a video on it. And part of the video, he was talking about this new report that just came out about the BAS, which is the benefit allotment for sustainment. It's like housing. You have BAH is for housing, and BAS is for sustainment, which is food. So you get an allotment to cover your food costs. And in particular, they're talking about it for soldiers that are living on base in the housing, like the barracks. So usually that's 99% lower enlisted that don't have families. So I want to share a little clip up from it just to kind of give everybody an idea to see what it is. Can you see that?
It's coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
The U.S. Army has been redirecting hundreds of millions of dollars it collected for soldiers living in barracks away from food services.
It is now advising soldiers to apply for benefits formerly known as food stamps.
United States military posts have been stealing, misappropriating, and transferring funds supposed to be to feed their troops to the sum of over $150 million from the $225 million that was collected to literally feed the troops. Anybody good at math here, Air Force? You want to chalk that up for me? Is that over half?
Yo, math.
It's more than half. So more than half of the money secured to feed their troops has gone to United States military posts, and nobody's been able to track it. It's just gone to whatever fund that they want. Not even spent on something related like the dining facility or food trucks. No, just gone.
So that's
Yeah, it's like a lot of the things that that we've been seeing recently with Doge, money that just seems to disappear into the ether. Nobody can explain where did that money go.
yeah. Well, and so then later in this video, he refers to Hots and Cots. Do you know about this? Hots and
No.
Cots. So Hots and Cots, I'm going to share the screen on this. This is a website, and it's an app that you can get on your phone that soldiers can get. So it's basically a big app where it's a veteran designed this app, and so it's a place where you can report findings for housing and defects issues within your bases wherever you are. And if you look, you can see the most recent posts about things, you know, everything from bats in the walls in Kansas at Fort Riley to you know, some good things where the guys were like, hey, I was able to clean my plate, I got good food, and give it good ratings. But then you have these guys here, they go into the dining facility to get food, and they're given to-go stuff and a small bowl of chili.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then you just keep scrolling down, and it's like you get some that are great reports, and then it's like, hey, look, defects closed during posted hours at Fort Bragg, which is a common problem. And then you find out, you know, find stuff like, here you go, this one right here, that's what he got for breakfast.
Wow.
In Fort Stewart. A couple of slices of bacon and 2 boiled eggs.
Yeah, it's not like the government's known for efficiency, but that's beyond beyond the pale. I mean, like, I know the Army or the military in general has the strength of our military is the ability to deploy, you know, across the world, to go anywhere. And you know, I in my time, you know, within a very short amount of time, we found a way to set up actual places to eat that were decent within a short span of time. We were eating decent food in Saudi Arabia within a week, not eating MREs. I mean, obviously MREs, that's your lowest common denominator. But some of the food you just showed there, that looked like MRE might have been a step up from where they were eating there. But you know, if you can't deliver good food on the post, then, you know, how about providing vouchers, or better yet, how about just give the money back to the soldier to allow him to spend the money where he preferred to eat off base. You know, I don't understand. You know, universities went through this a number of years ago, where the same kind of thing, where I think, you know, it's a chicken and egg problem here. If the soldiers aren't eating on base and the bases are saying, well, we're going to limit our service and we're going to limit the quality of food because nobody's eating. Okay, that's fine. Then you got a choice: either upgrade your food or maybe bring off-base concessions onto the base.
Right.
You know, bring Chick-fil-A, bring Burger King, whatever. I mean, you could argue whether or not that's good food or not, but If that's what
Yeah.
they're eating, then bring that on base and make that the standard. Universities did the same thing. All of a sudden, you go to a university food hall and basically that's what they're serving now is, off university concessions, and it's pretty successful. Again, whether that's good food or not, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, so I had shared with you before we got on here the YouTube video of the this Senate hearing back in
Right.
2020 when they're doing the budgeting for 2021, and it was brought up during that that was Ryan MacArthur was Secretary of the Army at the time,
Right.
and one of the Democrats on the committee asked him a question and said, "Hey, what about all this? Like we're spending money." There's an average of back then it was an average of like $150 or $170 that the soldiers weren't using of their food allowance, and it was just going somewhere.
Right.
And the soldiers weren't getting it. And then then they're talking about all this stuff, and why the difference like that. Why are we they'd already started implementing the CAPAS that actually has been I think that started back in 2017 that they were trying to start implementing that throughout the bases and stuff to try to get onto this type thing where you can take your DFAC card or CAT card, I think it is, and you go to the PX, you can go to the Shopette, you could go over to the Burger King on post because they usually have a Burger King,
Right.
and be able to go there and basically get your burger and fries at lunch, and be able to charge that. But the problem also is they're not doing they did one improvement on a dining facility. It was totally remodeled, and then they closed it a year later. And it's like because it wasn't getting used, because the report showed that they weren't open during the times that the soldiers needed to be there, because they're only open for an hour and a half for meal. So if you can't get there in that hour and a half, if your job, and also the dining facilities, if there's only 3 open on post, but the post is like Fort Hood where it's 100 miles wide,
Right.
like
Yeah.
you have to go a half hour on the other side of post. And if these are lower income, because they're E4s or below, lower enlisted, they're not making a ton of money, and not all of them have vehicles. They're not providing shuttles on post. I mean, there's all kinds of things that contribute to the fact that they're doing it. These guys will just call up and order Uber Eats, or they can go to Little Caesars and get a $5 pizza.
Right. Well, again, this is where the Army, they're doing a bottom up review now with the new Secretary of Defense, where they want to cut the budget for the military by what I think he said 40%. He wants 8% per year for the next number of years. And when you look at inefficiency across the military, and this is the kind of thing where they're spending money to upgrade a facility, then they're not using it. That's small potatoes, literally, for just things. But that's typical across the entire military. And the one thing that we're not doing is we're not taking care of soldiers, and we wonder why we have problems with retention, problems with recruiting when you have this kind of situation happen. How can you not take care of your soldiers when that's like the most basic, unit of the military?
Yeah. Well, the big thing that I saw too was I started looking at it, and you got the worst offenders of this. One of them was Fort Stewart.
Right.
Fort Stewart only used 2.2 million of the 11 million that it received for food. That's a lot.
Yeah. Where's that money going?
Yeah, $7 million can do a whole lot.
Yeah.
And
but where's that money going? I mean,
Yeah.
What are they using that for? Is it Is it unused money? Is it money they're using to do something else with it?
That's the thing, that this report just shows that it didn't go to be used to food, but they didn't provide anything on where it went. It's not sitting anywhere.
Right.
It's just gone. And so that's the one Doge needs to go in and find the traces of where that went to, because the fiscal policy, the fiscal report didn't show anything about where it went. It just showed this is how much we took in, this is how much we spent. Doesn't show where the rest went.
Right.
Did it
I know they didn't. I say this. I don't believe they housed illegal immigrants at Fort Stewart, but they did at some of the bases in Texas. Did they use that money? Did some of that money go to feeding illegal immigrants on the bases?
Yeah.
I mean, did they reallocate money? Is that something that is that even a possibility? I don't know,
It's
but
possible.
somewhere along the line. I mean, again, this is when they say the Defense Department was unable to pass an audit, this is the kind of thing where, I mean, more than likely the money just didn't get spent, or it got lost in the
Yeah. Or
shuffle.
somebody said, well, we can use it over here and spend on something that they didn't, who knows? That's the thing is it wasn't spent on improving the facilities or hiring people to work more to staff the dining facilities for more hours, because why would you want to do that? If that's a common problem, why would you not increase the hours of the dining facility then? I know you got to keep it clean, but I mean, that's the whole thing. But if you're not going to have it open when you say it's going to be open, or not open enough, or like in Fort Carson, they shut down for 4 days during Thanksgiving, and they had one dining facility that was open, and they ran out of food on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
they were,
it's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's when we're deployed in combat zones, the efficiency of the Army seems to be like kicked into high gear. Like they find solutions for things, but in peacetime or in stateside permanent deployment or permanent bases, it's a very inefficient run organization. And I went to Air Force Academy, and Fort Carson was like this city, and it was not. We heard about murders and we heard about things that were, it was like it was the hood, not not a base. It was very foreign to us, as Air Force was a little bit different, a little bit different situation. But again, the Army needs to really get its act together and figure out what's going on. And hopefully, again, this new administration, the new Secretary of Defense, the idea that DOJ is going to get in and start investigating where these things are going. I think that's the encouraging part. And again, so many people seem to be so against this this microscope into government. And you have to ask the question, why? What are they so afraid of, and why are they so against, somebody looking into the operations of our federal government and our military? I mean, what are they going to find? And this is maybe the one great opportunity to straighten some stuff out. And this is just one small. Again, this is one small part. But if you're a soldier, and you're this guy that's answer the call of duty, this 18-year-old guy that signed up and had all these great expectations of serving their country, and then they find themselves in this situation where they're unable to feed themselves properly. I mean, we failed as a country. We failed as a military. We failed as leaders of the military to be able to feed these people. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, and it seems to actually be the Army might be the main issue with this, but I don't think that it's the only branch that is having the problems, because I'm just looking through the hots and cots. You get stuff from the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and there were several things that even soldiers or sailors in the Navy were complaining about. They went in for a meal and they got a burger patty and ketchup.
Wow.
No bun, no lettuce, no tomato, like that's all they got. You can see it. They're sitting in a dining facility, so they got a tray, which it's not like a to-go box. It's a tray. You go in and you go through the line, and they don't have, there's pictures on Hots and Cots where they show the guys taking pictures of the line when they're in there, and there's like 3 items on the line out of a big serving line. It's like, who's running these chow halls? Because one day they're great, they got all the food in the world, but like, are they waiting on the supply? Who's ordering the supplies? Who's in charge of all this? And it ultimately falls on the base commanders, making sure they're on top of making sure their soldiers are fed, because an army moves on its stomach.
Right.
Since the dawn of man,
Well, there's been no accountability particularly for the last 4 or 5 years. There's been no accountability whatsoever in the military. Failure only gets you promoted. And I saw some posts from friends of mine from the Air Force Academy that said, they go on base, they see the MPs at the entrance of the base that are unshaven, their uniforms look sloppy. One of my classmates is the Air Force, not the chief of staff. He's the what do I want to say? Anyway,
words are hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Words are hard.
Yeah. But he actually had to put out a letter that said, here's the standards for wearing a uniform. And you're like, how is it that that somebody has to go to the most basic element of wearing the uniform and haircut standards and all these? Why is that even a thing? Isn't that something you learn in basic training?
Yeah.
That the standards have fallen so far that this has become a problem.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens now moving forward with Doge and with this new administration. Even though a lot of this came up during his previous administration and has been ongoing since, and probably prior to his administration, because there's been so much corruption and so much, it's so entrenched that there'd be no way. I mean, I don't even think Doge will be able to get through all of it in 4 years. There's no way. There's no way that you could think that they could get down and drill down to every single little thing. Now, because unless you do like they're doing, and you just cut everything and then start bringing back the good stuff, going through each thing as you bring it on, which is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And I mean, I'm right now, there's a lot of things that they're cutting that I'm concerned that it's going to have what the implications will be later on. I mean, you got the park services, some of the stuff because they're cutting programs and employees from programs that are in part of conservation work that needs to be done for applications, making sure people are doing the proper stuff out west to make sure they're not impeding public lands and destroying public lands, verifying leases so that the country can make money on the BLM land out there where they're ranging cattle and stuff. There's all that paperwork's got to get processed, and if you take away the employees, there's 3 guys doing it in one state. You take away 2 of those guys, now you got 1 guy trying to do it, and it's gonna be hard.
We're broke.
Yep,
we're broke, and got to cut.
Yeah, well,
got a way to be more efficient.
It's gonna hurt, and that's the thing that I've been trying to make sure I tell you is, this is it's not going to get any better quick.
No.
You won't see the savings instantly.
No.
You go on beans and rice for a while, and then it'll start accumulating, but it's going to be tight. I can't wait to see what he does. I hope this gets resolved. I'm gonna keep an eye on it, keep checking in to see if this gets addressed in any way, but I haven't heard it in the media at all. Those clips he got, I don't know where. I tried looking for those clips, those news clips he had. I can't find them.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of this chatter on some of the Telegram channels that I belong to, and within the military and recently retired military, this has been something that's been noted. So it's not within the greater media community, nobody's paying any attention, but within the military community, it is. So there's, I think, a good shot that it gets to Secretary Hegseth And if it does, then maybe there's some attention gets put to it. I mean, he seems to be a guy who's in touch with the common soldier, the common military member who does care about people. And I think that maybe is the most encouraging thing, is that it's not a guy who's been so out of touch with touching dirt, touching grass,
Yeah.
that he still remembers what it's like to be in the dust of the desert, and not in some command post someplace, or worse yet, in some Raytheon or Lockheed Martin talking about weapon sales to the Defense Department. So I mean, I think that having a guy like that who is still in touch will probably have much greater impact on the day-to-day life of a soldier, airman, Marine, Space Force guy, or sailor. So
Yeah.
with any luck, we can get this out, and hopefully, Armed Force Press and others can get that in front of him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited for it. Well, I thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
on. I can't, just fathom 151 million dollars is
Yeah.
just, whew.
Keep making noise. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the only way this gets out there is people like you and I, and Todd Wood, and all the people that are in this circle have to keep making noise. If we keep making noise, eventually somebody has to listen.
Yeah. And I encourage everyone to go on cots.app on their computer, and that's the web page. But you can also download the app for your phone, and you can keep up with this and see what's going on. Because even if it's not in the media, you can do a quick glance, look at it, just check it out every so often, and see what's posted. And then you can also see what's been done about it, because they report on if they've actually responded to it, because those discrepancies get sent to the bases where those happen, and they're given an opportunity to respond and say that they've provided corrective action for it.
Wow.
So it's be interesting to see what goes on. I'm gonna keep following it, and maybe we'll post again later if we find they've found something, or when they have new news comes out for this.
Appreciate you, Karen.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks to Armed Forces Press.
Take care.
What we have here is my favorite breakfast food, and it's also can be used anytime, but breakfast casserole, and I call it dragon eggs. Hash browns on the bottom, sausage, bacon, ham, eggs, cheese, jalapenos, bell peppers, onions. It's got everything. And so we're going to pair that with some Black Rifle coffee, because nothing goes better with breakfast food than coffee. All right. Let's try this out. Get a little bit of everything. Gotta get a little bit of everything. Hard to get little bit of everything. Oh, get some of that crunchy, crispy hash brown. Cheesy. Oh, that's good. Fluffy. Those eggs are nice and fluffy. You get a little crunch from the vegetables, a little crunch from the hash browns, but you also get the soft hash browns, the ones that are closer to the top, that weren't close to the bottom, getting brown. Oh. Oh, I know what this is missing. Fire Chief. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's good stuff. Oh, yeah. Fluffy. Oh, that's so good. Crowd pleaser. You can always add more spices and stuff to it, but man, got just enough heat. There's not enough There's only 2 jalapenos in this whole thing, so it's not super spicy at all, but it does bring some heat to it. But then that's Fire Chief. Oh, oh my goodness. Woo! Yes, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna take this inside. It's starting to chill off. I don't want this getting cold. So I'm gonna take it inside and share it with the family. Thank you all for watching. Check out our sponsors. We have Grill Your Ass Off Seasonings, armedforces.press, and Lasered Gifts for You on Facebook. Check them out. Thanks so much.